Today we are going to be speaking about how a potential buyer or an owner can maximize a small space.
One of the projects that I'm most proud of is a project that I worked on in Carroll Gardens, Brooklyn. The task was to convert a one-bedroom into an office/workspace. So I had a lot of fun working in that space because, for starters, I actually got to design a custom Murphy bed that was multifunctional, given that I installed open shelving, bottom cabinetry, so the client had space for storage, and she also had a great space for guests when they stay over. So I would say within this one space, I was able to integrate like a couple of smart storage solutions, the Murphy bed and a custom storage shoe bench. And most of all, I got to utilize color in this project. Like, I got to utilize red, and I really feel like red is having its moment right now. I love working with red in a space.
Red I love in a den, and I love seeing it in libraries, which is the more traditional way of utilizing red is typically library, but like you said, now it seems like it's coming back. Red is very rich. It's kind of like old world. It reminds me of like an old New York movie.
There are definitely different like values of red. You can do like a ruby red. It could be like a terracotta red, which has a lot more brown in it. But I would say I like working a lot with red.
Are you using it in a specific room of the apartment or the house, or it can now be used everywhere?
Oh, I like to use it in a particular room. Like when we were talking about the Murphy bed home office, I used a red color in there, and I actually used Benjamin Moore's Foxy Brown.
Oh, beautiful.
Which is a beautiful, like, warm red because it has like a brown undertone.
The things that you evaluate in this space to make it feel larger or more spacious.
I like to analyze the size of the space first. And I also want to analyze how the client is going to want to use the space. So let's say if it's a smaller space, because we live in New York City, the first thing that comes to mind is, okay, do I need to open up a wall in order to accommodate the needs of how the client wants to use the space? If it's a large family, are we going to need to integrate additional storage within the millwork for toy storage? Or it could be any kind of storage. So usually the first thing I think about is storage.
You mentioned to me before we started the interview how important it is now for buyers and potential owners to have space for an office. You started to tell me about a project that you did that sounded fantastic, where you turned a closet into an office. Tell me a little bit more about that.
I had a Queens project. It was a major renovation, and I had a client that was going to be working from home very often. And he didn't want his home office to be in the living area. He wanted his own space. He wanted his own like alcove. So there was a closet inside of the apartment, and there was enough room to actually open it up, rebuild framing, and give him an office nook. So that's just one example of how I like walk into a space and pretty much figure out, okay, based on what you need, this is actually how we're going to execute. What I did do was I changed out the entry door. The entry door was originally just like a basic flat panel swing door. And what I did was I incorporated a door that actually had a window pane with like reeded glass. So the client can actually see out and people could see in.
Oh, that's beautiful. And that's really nice.
Yeah, it was really cool because the office was located directly across from the window, and the living room got a lot of light in. So because the closet was within the living room space, and because we changed the style of the door so that the client could not only see through it, but also so that sunlight can come through it, the client didn't feel as if he was like, like trapped in a closet.
How do you make a closet into an office? Walk us through that.
You want to make sure that there's at least like 50 square feet of space in the closet so that you can fit like a floating desk, you can fit like a little tiny file cabinet inside. But mostly the reason why you want to have at least 50 square feet of space inside of a closet is so that when you push out, as you're pushing yourself in and out away from the desk, you want to have enough room to move around. I would definitely focus on the type of lighting that you have in that closet. Make sure that it's well lit, so that it's dual functional. It suits you well when you're getting dressed, and it suits you well when you're working.
What are some creative ways to draw the eyes upward while also adding practical storage?
I recently installed a cabinet, a multifunctional cabinet for coat storage and any other miscellaneous storage. And what I did in the center where the TV is located is I installed what's called vertical paneling. So what the vertical paneling does is it elongates the vertical space. It draws your eye upward, and it gives the illusion that the ceiling is higher.
Oh.
Yes. So whenever you're working with vertical spaces, you always want to think about how to make the space look bigger. So for instance, let's say if I'm doing an installation in an apartment, and let's say if it's north facing light. So what I did in a recent project was I installed mirrors, vertical mirrors across from a window. So what vertical mirrors do is that's a great way to utilize vertical space because, you're utilizing, you're making the room appear bigger, and you're also drawing your eye upward. So with vertical space, you always want to, the sole purpose of it is to utilize it to its best potential. It could be with mirrors, it could be with cabinetry, it could be with like design textural details such as fluted paneling, to draw your eye upward to make the space look bigger.
How about artwork? Is that something that you also incorporate in a vertical space?
Yes, you can incorporate artwork by stacking it vertically. Sometimes mistakes people make with artwork is that they place it too high on the wall. It should be placed at eye level. So if you want to utilize vertical space with artwork, just stack the artwork one on top of the other.
Thank you so much. This was such a wonderful conversation. One of the takeaways from me is that if someone has a large closet that they want to turn into an office, that they should do that. They should utilize that for something more interesting. Like I can talk about myself, for example. My office is also my walk-in closet. So I have a beautiful shoe rack, and then I have a space for my handbags. So thank you again, and it was lovely to spend this time with you. And I'm Linette Semino with Compass.
My name is Mercedes Kerrison. I am the founder and principal designer of Abode Interiors. The best way to get in touch with us is to reach us at abodeinteriorsnyc.com, or you can also reach us on Instagram at Abode Interiors NYC.